Well, in today's hyperactive media world, currency today is engagement. And one of the companies that's helping sports companies, leagues, networks, providers do that is LiveLike. And on this edition of the SVG News Sponsor Spotlight, we're happy to welcome LiveLike to the SVG family. Hi, everyone. I'm Brad Acosta, Director of Digital here at the Sports Video Group. Pleased to be joined by Samuel Westberg. He's LiveLike's co-founder and Chief Revenue Officer. Samuel, thanks so much for taking the time. Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Of course. You guys have a lot of experience working with sports clients in this new world of media distribution. Why don't you tell our audience what LiveLike is all about and what you guys specialize in?
Yeah, so at LiveLike, we come from the VR world. In the original days, we were developing VR experiences. VR didn't work as a medium, but what we saw working very well was gamification and engagement. And so we decided to take what we were doing well and move it to the core platforms of our partners for them to be able to integrate this gamification, this engagement, this community experience, loyalty mechanics directly on their platforms. Right. So if you take a step back, organizations have had the habit of bringing users over to their platforms for the content that they distribute or that they create. We want to help organizations work on the experience so that people keep coming back for the experience that they have, for the fun that they have, and for the engaging layers that they have on the platform. So that goes from very simple answering a quiz engagement layers to the full community suite, where we have great use cases of how organizations have managed to build communities on their platforms, to the full loyalty mechanics on a platform to say, how do I think about engaging Brandon on a daily basis on my platform, whether I have content or not? And what are the key topics for me to push him towards so that I make him an engaged user?
Sure. Like I said, you've worked with a lot of big time clients. You've worked with the likes of Yes Network in New York, Live Golf, the Phoenix Suns and the New York Mets on the team side. All of them, the tools that you offer might serve them in different ways, and they might use those engagement tools in different ways. But in your opinion, what's a case study that you feel truly encapsulate what your solutions are kind of all capable of?
Yeah, it's a good point. One of the examples I often take, I'm half French and I'm based out of France, and we work in France with most of the big broadcasters, right? So
Mhm.
TF1, France TV, Canal Plus, beIN Sports, and M6. Those are really most of them out there. They all use our technology differently, right? Because they have sort of different KPIs, they have different ways of going about it. But one of the examples that I have to put forward, actually, it's hard to I'll only have one, but one of the
Sure.
most recent one is just France TV, very much using our functionalities to create a Twitch-like experience on their platforms. And so basically what they did was around the Olympics was try our features for social experiences, right? So build communities for people to come on the platform and stay a lot longer. And one of the things that we did in terms of testing the solution before the actual Olympics was kind of testing it in two similar environments. And they saw that there was about 50% more retention on the content on Roland Garros, so on the French Open, with community features versus without, right? And so from here on, we moved on to covering the Olympics with them, which was a massive success. It's really one of the things that stood out in terms of their activations. And like as a Frenchman, having the French Olympics on France TV with our features was definitely very exciting. And so they moved on now to covering all their different events. So now it's the French Open, it's the Tour de France. It's like all the big events that they own the rights for. They actually cover with a social experience now because of the success of that. So that's really interesting. Community is one of the features. The other one was engagement. So those are two interesting elements. One of the big things that we're working on is loyalty as well.
Mhm.
So, and if I move it out from the broadcaster industry and maybe more to go towards the club industry, even though we do have some very important partners, you mentioned Yes Network, who use our loyalty programs. And we have a big launch in the Middle East as well. We have a few clients that are embracing it also in Europe. But loyalty at a club level also is something that we are very bullish on. We feel like there's a lot to be done in that space, and a lot of clubs seem to believe so as well because we have quite a few programs that are launching this season. One of our historical partners, PSG, with whom we've been working for a little while, and we're going to discuss what to do with them. There's a lot on the loyalty space, and in terms of monetizing the fan while bringing them a better experience and considering them as part of the user journey that they have around the club and not only in isolated silos, um, we believe is an incredibly untapped source of revenue for the clubs.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And even with the leagues too, I know you guys just very recently struck a deal with the Professional Fighters League and Futureverse to launch PFL rewards there, and that's on a global scale. So we'll be very interested to see how that continues to play out for you guys.
Yeah.
For brands that want to get involved with you, what's that process like when you introduce them to the solutions that you offer? Again, you've mentioned the loyalty and rewards. There's the various interactive overlays, whether they're informative or actually interactive on a live stream. You offer chat too. When people want to get involved with you, is it, everything is included? Do they pick the certain things they want to do? What's that process like if someone is interested in wanting to do more of a loyalty type thing?
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of different models, right? Because we need to be able to work with Brentford or Celtic Glasgow just as much as we need to be able to work with a TNT or a Bleacher Report,
Mhm.
and who have very different scales, right? So there's definitely we want people to come to us whenever they're thinking, how do I bring a user experience? How do I make value out of people's interactions on our digital platforms? And how do I measure and help actually driving the users in the right direction? We want to be helpful in that regard, right? And so it might be through community, it might be through engagement, it might be through loyalty, and you can pick and choose, right? It goes from very simple mini games that can create engagement around specific objectives, right? We were working with one client on them reaching a KPI of people just authenticating on the platform, right? And this is where we can give advice, not only about the technology, by the way, at a strategic level, right? Because a lot of the people come to us and say, okay, we understand that what you have is very cool. Where do I start? How do I go about it? And this is where we can come in and say, oh, New York Mets for their loyalty program use this. PSG started with that. Chelsea did this. Oh, you're a smaller club. Well, Celtic Glasgow, we're deploying this way. Brentford has used us for, different activations, right? So we want to be able to help in terms of like putting together those strategies. And also one of the things is you have to understand that when you're putting gamification mechanics and a loyalty program, it's not just a one launch that is going to solve every need. It is actually continuous, right? It's like your editorial content. It has to be continuous. It has to be cross-platform. We believe that engagement and loyalty should be thought about the right in that way as well, and we can help make that realistic and tangible for organizations versus just say, "Hey, take our software, figure it out." No, we come with the expertise and the help alongside it as well.
Sure. And I imagine in this day and age where it seems like, at least here in the States, everyone's being asked to subscribe to a new streaming platform seemingly every day.
Yeah.
We talk about the engagement being valuable currency for the client, but even for the end user and the fan, there is that element of like, well, what am I getting out of this on top of it? And this makes them feel like their use of the platform is actually quote unquote rewarded and they get something out of it.
And it's that element of exchange, right? Like
Mhm.
you're happy to get, like we've been happy to register to Facebook, X, TikTok, etc., because we give our information. They give us back a lot of content
Yep.
that we want to consume on a daily basis, right? Loyalty programs, same thing for us people working in the industry who are traveling. Everybody has their airline company kind of loyalty preference, and then same thing for the hotels. It is because those organizations have managed to give value back for somebody being loyal to their brand.
Mhm.
We think by default people are loyal to their favorite sports team.
Right.
Only partially true. But if you are rewarded for spending more, right? I always take the example, I'm a PSG fan. If every time I was rewarded for when I come to the stadium, when I buy stuff, I have the good recommendations for all the birthdays in my family, I would spend more. I would be happy to get the value back. I would feel considered as a PSG fan. There's that sentiment of belonging that is very important, and loyalty programs can help you give that back to the user. And it can be about the sentiment of belonging. It can be for economic rewards, right? There are different reasons why people engage, and that's a whole process that we help organizations understand. Um, but yeah, people want to participate and they want to feel recognized for that participation as well.
Sure. Yeah. I'm not sure if you can see it over my shoulder here. There's a little New York Jets helmet. You want to talk about loyalty without rewards. I know exactly what you're talking.
You have to be courageous. You're a courageous man. I know that now, Brandon.
Well, before we let you go, I'm kind of interested as someone who's in the C-suite at the company and one of the co-founders. I mean, you mentioned it in the beginning. You guys made a very important pivot. When we were first introduced to you guys, you were in VR, and now you're doing something very different and very well. So as you look ahead to the remainder of 2025 here, what's kind of a key trend or something in the industry that you're keeping an eye on that maybe folks in the audience should be keeping an eye on in sports?
Yeah, it's actually a fun part of our journey, right? We were in VR. It was very much about video production workflows on site. Then we went to full digital, so it was a bit of a different space. And now we're back with SVG because we're
Mhm.
back to saying, okay, because there is impact on digital, but because we know that the impact that we can have can only be as strong as the editorial alignment internally between the digital and the linear teams, right? So there are elements to, like for participation, you have to have the commentators that say, "Hey, come participate. Your opinion values. We're going to debate it at the halftime show." Right. So that proximity is very important. So now we went from moving from working on digital workflows to saying, okay, what's the impact that AI can have, right? And so we started with Gen AI to be able to help with populating our features because there's going to be what you can do with technology, but you're always trying to save time for people inside organizations. So we started by attacking it from the angle of Gen AI, but now we're looking at agentic AI also to help with those whole workflows of what questions are working, how can I engage more, what are the examples, right? And so we're trying to put together what we call a genie solution
Mhm.
to be able to say we're not only going to help with the digital workflows, but we're also going to help with the editorial help that we can bring to the commentators by interrogating our systems and plugging in different sources of content in there. So that's something that we're very bullish on because we can now bridge that gap between digital, linear, and think about workflows that have value across just the editorial output and not on platform related, not only in a vertical way inside an organization. And AI is great for that. And we're definitely very bullish about AI as an organization working in innovation and having to always been created. We went through all the different journeys that, were VR, then it was Web3, then it was AI. AI definitely has a different potential to it than previous innovative technologies that have hit the market, if you ask me.
That's fascinating. Samuel, thanks so much for taking the time. We're thrilled to have LiveLike back aboard. We look forward to seeing you at events and covering what you guys are up to. Thanks again for taking the time today.
Thanks a lot for having me, Brendan.
Of course, he is Samuel Westberg. He's the co-founder and chief revenue officer of LiveLike. You can learn more about them over at their website at livelike.com. Definitely encourage you to check out all the cool interactive tools that they can bring to your product, your loyalty programs if you're looking to set one up. And of course, for more videos from us, including other introductions to some of the industry's leading technology vendors, head on over to our website at sportsvideo.org. We'll talk to you next time.